The time has come for Flash Wars to begin, so what happens in this prelude that's going to lead into the main event? What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is an IRA review, a show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. Make sure you subscribe to get more of these every single week. The book that I want to talk about is The Flash number 46, which is coming from Joshua Williamson, and it is going to be the prelude. It is going to be the precursor to the Flash Wars, an event that's going to bring the Flashes in conflict with each other. And who is behind it? Well, it seems to be the two various Reverse Flashes from the history of Wally West and Barry Allen. But this story is going to get into a little bit more depth as to why they're setting the Flashes up against each other. In Flash number 45, Wally West got back all of his memories from this timeline as well as alternate timelines, and it's caused him to have some sort of psychotic break. But when we jump into Flash 46, the honest prelude to Road to Flash 4, we actually start in a prison. So this is actually the story of Hunter Zolomon, how he's gone through his history, becoming a criminal profiler, eventually, having everything taken away from him, his children, becoming paralyzed, eventually making friends with Wally West the Flash, becoming Zoom because he wanted to understand how to make Wally West better, how to bring out the potential of Wally, to show him his true powers, his true calling. And that is where we kind of left Hunter Zolomon. He's currently locked up inside a penitentiary, and then all of a sudden, kaboom, this giant explosion blows open the wall, knocks him out of his wheelchair, and then finally we see Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, standing there, holding a guard in his hands, ready to partner up with Hunter Zolomon, the other Reverse Flash that we've known and heard of. Thanks to this being a Flash comic, we can only assume that timelines are all kind of skewed at this point. And what we do is we bounce back to the current day, now, where we see Zatanna. She's casting a spell on what looks to be some sort of unknown party. We see Martian Manhunter doing some sort of psychic probe. Jessica Cruz scans with the Green Lantern ring, and we find that Barry and Iris are sitting in a hospital talking about exactly what's happened with Wally, what's happened with Iris, how the recollection, the memories have come back, how they're both confused and are kind of looking at an incomplete tapestry. They can't put the pieces together. But then we jump into the lab where we see Wally West strapped down to this machine where they're trying to do some sort of psychological bioscan, and you've got Victor Stone's Cyborg, you've got his dad, and they're trying to help him out the best that they can. However, Wally is having none of this. He's tired of being poked, tired of being prodded, tired of being treated like some sort of lab rat, and as he looks over at Victor, his eyes kind of flash with this essence of speed force that crosses over temporal and multiversal planes. We see the earlier version of Cyborg when he was introduced to the Teen Titans. We see what looks to be a fully metallic golden Cyborg, which is reminiscent of Kingdom Come. Seeing into realities that don't exist or that existed in other timelines is causing some sort of psychotic break. The temporal energies are taking their toll on Wally West. He doesn't want any more tests, and he is gone, just bolts. Of course, Barry has an idea, as he kind of confided in Bruce Wayne at the beginning of DC Rebirth. As he went to him during the Button Saga where they were trying to do the research on these things, he heads over to the Batcave. He's indisposed at this point in time, and then in Barry's dialogue, he says that the Justice League communicator put him with Booster Gold at some point in time, which is a nice little nod to Tom King's Batman title going right now. But Barry is extremely frustrated as he just smashes the Batcomputer and starts talking to Alfred. He's pacing back and forth. He's rampantly just unloading everything that he possibly can because he feels so many emotions for Wally West. He feels so much responsibility. He hurts when Wally West hurts. His sidekick, his friend, this person from this former timeline, this current timeline, this person that he has called almost family even. And the big problem that he runs into is, what does Batman do? Batman has Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing, all these different people that are what he considers his extended family, and how does he get by letting them go out and put themselves in risk? And Alfred, of course, knows all about this. He lets Bruce go and put himself at risk when he feels like Bruce is his son. So there's a conversation that Barry and Alfred are going to be having about that, so that way they are going to kind of flesh out these feelings that Barry Allen has. But we bounce back to Hunter Zolomon, where we're talking inside the 25th century, inside the Flash Museum, where we go over everything that's been happening as far as this plan's concerned. Thawne and Zolomon, they've set up the rogues, kind of turning them into these time police. They head up the temporal courts. They have put themselves in place to control and manipulate the time stream for the advantage of the Reverse Flashes, for Zoom, to make Barry Allen and Wally West the best Flashes they can ever be, so that way they can tear them down. Of course, Eobard Thawne is not thinking the same way that Hunter Zolomon is, and he takes off heading to the 21st century so that way he can encounter Barry Allen and Batman. And this looks to be the point in time where he goes and finds the button. Of course, this leaves us with Hunter Zolomon, and he's going to recount exactly what he knew when Wally West was his friend, and what he was told that Wally would do when he needed to clear his mind. He would go run. He would revisit past failures. He'd go to the home that he grew up in. He'd go to the point where his life was changed forever, and then finally he would head to the Flash Museum, which is where we see Wally West now. He's standing inside the Flash Museum. We see Flash, Kid Flash. We see Cobra defeated, the Justice League of America, and Wally is just sitting here inside this kind of space that feels like home, taking in this knowledge and memories, only to have the rug pulled out from underneath him, that there is no Flash Museum. Not yet, not for a long time. And this just crumbles Wally West to the ground, knowing that he's looking and he's seeing these things from the future, from the past, from different timelines that exist, that didn't exist, that do exist now, that there are just such a chaos of temporal pieces that are flowing around inside his brain, are just bringing him to the end. And of course, Barry Allen is there. He is his support. He doesn't necessarily need to teach him anything. He just needs to be there to support him, and they start running. The Flash Museum appears and disappears, and finally we go back to a little bit more of Hunter Zolomon. He stares into what happened in the past. He sees the evisceration of Eobard Thawne. He gets to see him die again and again and again. And then, unfortunately, as we end this issue, we see the parallels between Barry Allen and Hunter Zolomon as he smashes his own monitor, which Barry fixed inside the Batcave, but I'm not sure if Zolomon's going to be fixing this one. But that is where we're going to be beginning. We're going to be picking up in the Flash War. So while Eobard Thawne is a relatively impatient individual, he's going back and he's trying to exact his vengeance and really take out all this frustration on Barry Allen. Hunter Zolomon is really trying to increase the potential because he is continually disappointed by what Wally West can be. So instead of turning them into the best possible versions of themselves, he's going to set up a situation, a war between the two Flashes that is going to make them achieve their pinnacle at the expense of the other, which is a relatively interesting concept. It seems like it's a story that Joshua Williamson's been wanting to tell for quite some time. Who would win amongst the Flashes? And setting up Zolomon and setting up Eobard Thawne to be those kind of main antagonists, those villains, the people that are prodding them forward from the future, that is a very interesting kind of concept. So I'm really excited to see where this one goes. There's quite a long road that Wally West has traveled since DC Rebirth, so I think I'm going to do a video on that one as well. But I want to know exactly what you guys are thinking about this road to Flash Wars and this Flash Wars storyline, so hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.